Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the pros and cons of living in Sarasota, Florida. Now, don't get me wrong, Sarasota is an absolute paradise in many ways, but I would be remiss if I didn't also make you aware of some of the things that are not ideal. And so if you are considering a move to Sarasota or you're just curious, this video is going to give you everything that you need to know. I am going to go over 10 pros and 10 cons, and they're going to be transparent, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Starting with number 10 and then number 1 being, in my mind, what's the most important as far as the pros and the cons. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel and ring the bell so that you can get notifications on all the other videos I do about Sarasota and the surrounding areas. And let's just get to it. Cons of living in Sarasota. We're going to start off with number 10, which is traffic in season. In season for Sarasota and a lot of Florida is going to be the winter months. It is absolutely gorgeous here, and a lot of people, especially some from the Midwest and the East Coast, come down here to escape. The snow, the dreary weather up north, well, it is gorgeous here. It's actually our most beautiful time of the year. And so traffic can get pretty bad. Now, I have to say, it's really all just your point of view, like everything in life. We moved here from Southern California. And so when my neighbors would complain about how bad the traffic had become, I didn't quite understand what they were talking about. Clearly, I knew it was heavier traffic, but compared to the 405 or the 5 in California, it's very mild. So it's going to depend on where you're coming from. But I will say during the winter months, especially around the holidays, the beaches can get very full. And so if you're not there by 10 a.m. on a weekend, holiday weekend, then you're going to be sitting in traffic for an hour, finally getting to the free parking lot, which normally has plenty of spaces. It's not going to have any spaces. You're going to have to pay $20 to park like half a mile away, and then you're going to be schlepping your stuff. None of that sounds very fun. So my advice is, if you can help it, just avoid the beaches on those holiday weekends, and really on weekends in general, unless you want to get there early. Or you can go in the late afternoon, which is what we do sometimes, because then it's cleared up and you can enjoy the gorgeous sunset with the beautiful weather. Con number 9. Now, this may not be a big deal to a lot of you, but I was very surprised to find when we moved to Sarasota that there is no high-end shopping. Now, I will say I contribute this to what my friend refers to as quiet money, which I really like about Sarasota. Now, don't get me wrong, there are restaurants where you can dress up and there's upscale places to go, but people are not showy the way they are in certain parts of, let's say, Southern California, where I've come from, or even some other areas of Florida and New York. So I think you get what I'm saying. But the bottom line is, if you want to do any luxury shopping, you're going to need to go up to Tampa, which is about an hour away, or you can go for the weekend to Naples, which is a couple of hours south of here. So luxury shopping, no. There is a really great store on St. Armand's Circle called The Met, which does have some very good clothing for both men and women. And there's a store downtown called Lotus that I absolutely love, but you're not going to get any of the boutiques. There's no Louis Vuitton. There was when we moved here, but it shut down. There's no Gucci, etc. I do want to mention that there is a luxury outlet in Orlando, which is 2 hours away, and it's awesome. They have Gucci, Jimmy Choo, Brunello Cucinelli. etc. So that's definitely worth a trip up there. Last year, my husband and I went right around Christmas time, did our Christmas shopping, and it was super. But yeah, boo. Number 9, no luxury shopping. Con number 8, alligators. Let's talk wildlife. In Florida, yes, there are alligators. Now, you will be just fine if you use common sense. If you have little dogs or little kids, or just in general to be safe, if you see water, don't go walk right around down by it unless you can see all the way through it. Now, my previous home here in Sarasota was on a canal, and it had a huge pond in the backyard. I'm going to show you a video of someone from Fish and Wildlife Conservation pulling an alligator out of our pond. Now, this service is free, but if seeing an alligator in your own backyard is going to freak you out, then when we go looking for property, I will not show you any that are near bodies of water. Con number 7, the high cost of living in Sarasota. Sarasota is an amazing place to be, but with the lifestyle comes a price tag. Housing here, especially in the more desirable neighborhoods and of course on the water, is going to be a much higher median price point than the national average. We also are higher than places like Jacksonville and a lot of other cities in Florida. We're hovering right around $500,000, and Orlando also is going to be less expensive than that. But the good news is that nearby cities like Bradenton and Venice have a median price point as of this year right at about $420,000. So if you're flexible on the location, you can still enjoy the Sarasota lifestyle for a lower price point. The neighborhoods are still friendly, the homes are still nice, and you're only 30 to 45 minutes from all the areas in Sarasota that you'll be wanting to visit. Con number 6, hot summers. When we moved here 4 years ago, I was prepared for the worst summer in regards to unimaginable heat ever. And while it was hot, at the end of the summer, I asked our neighbors, was this just an unusually mild summer? And they looked at me like I was nuts, and they said, no, it was a typical summer. Again, it's all a perspective. I grew up in the Central Valley in California, and my family still lives there. That is hot. That can be 117 degrees. I am very serious. Not so hot in Sarasota, however, it is humid. But I've been to other parts of Florida, southern Florida, south of us, I won't name any cities, where you walk outside and you feel like you just got in the shower with all of your clothes on. That's not how it is in Sarasota. It is hot, I don't want to mislead you, and there's a handful of days each summer where you don't want to go outside. If you have a dog, you quickly go outside and you get right back into the air conditioning. Many people go ahead and take their vacations in July and they go to cooler areas. So every place is going to have a con. That's one of ours. Con number 5, limited cultural diversity. Sarasota is growing, but it still lacks the cultural diversity you'd find in major cities like Miami, Orlando, or even Tampa. If you're coming here from a more urban background, you'll probably notice that Sarasota doesn't offer quite as much in the way of ethnic foods with diverse cuisine or cultural festivities. However, our city is growing, and with that, it's bringing more diversity. So we're starting to see more of the restaurant scene. I just had dinner last Thursday at a phenomenal Indian restaurant. And be sure to check back on my channel because I'm going to be doing a review on that restaurant itself, which is turmeric. So I wanted to go ahead and also tell you now about con number 4, which is lack of public transportation. If you are coming here from a city that really has it figured out well, like Boston or Chicago or New York City, you will be disappointed. We have some, but it's not going to be a way that's going to be practical to get you to work. Now, we do have the ride shares, of course, like Uber and Lyft. They're widely available. And we also have the bikes that you can rent and ride anywhere. And then, the city takes care of that. But for now, if you're planning on moving here, you will likely need a car. Unless you want to move downtown, which is highly walkable. Con number 4, cost of insurance. We do need to talk about this. So it's going to be more expensive in Florida for both car and home insurance compared to a lot of other areas in the United States. The car insurance tends to be higher because we have a higher percentage of uninsured drivers than in some other areas of the US. And it's a no-fault state. That's the second reason. And third is probably that we have a lot of tourists. And so that may mean that they're not quite sure where they're going, which results in more fender benders. Home insurance. Home insurance is more expensive than some other areas of the United States as well because of the storms that we get. And on top of that, depending upon where you buy, flood insurance will be mandatory. The flood insurance tends not to be that expensive. As a matter of fact, at this point, many of us are recommending, depending upon where you buy, even if it's not in a flood zone, that you go ahead and get flood insurance. It's like I always tell my daughter, better be safe than sorry. I will say, coming from California, that the cost of the car registration is a lot less in Florida. So we have a set price here in Florida, as does California, but being California, on top of that, they also include a tax based upon the original purchase price of the car. So in my case, it was way less than half the price to register my car here in Florida as it had been in California. Con number 3, the tourist crowds. And when I say tourist, really I'm talking about the snowbirds, and we covered that a little bit back when we talked about traffic earlier. The main thing that I've noticed is that off season, I can go to any of our fabulous restaurants, and I like to make reservations, but most likely, as long as you're making it a few days in advance, you're going to be able to pick the restaurant and the time that you want to dine. Now during season, especially at the more popular spots, you need to be making that reservation a month or more in advance if you hope to enjoy it during the holidays. So I guess just choose when you want to go to those places. I also personally like the vibe of it being busier and more lively. So just depends on what's your cup of tea, so to speak. Con number 2, limited nightlife options. If you're someone who loves a vibrant nightlife scene with clubs and late night events, Sarasota might not be the place for you. While there are some fun spots like Madison's, which has live bands and a dance floor, it's located downtown, super fun. There's also Classico Chop House, which serves food really late and they have live music. It doesn't compare to bigger cities like Miami or Tampa. in terms of robust nightlife. For a more bustling scene though, you can go up to St. Pete, which is only about an hour away. Same with Tampa. And just treat yourself to a little overnight there or grab an Uber. But Sarasota, it's not going to be, pumping. Con number one is hurricanes and storms. The thing is, up until 12 days ago, Sarasota had never taken a direct hit, but that all changed with Hurricane Milton. Now, the hurricane season runs from June until really kind of end of October. And I can say that I am floored by how the Sarasota and the outlying areas have come together to help one another recover from the hurricane. I really see many downed trees, which bums me out a lot. And the barrier islands surrounding us, like Siesta Key, Longboat Key, and Lido, there was a lot of flooding, but as a whole, I was really amazed by how well Sarasota did. There are things you can do to prepare for hurricanes, and I know of course you can Google that, but what I would like to mention is if you hear of one brewing and you live here, go ahead and at that point book a refundable hotel. We have 4 pets. I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, and there's a rumor that all hotels have to take pets if there's a natural disaster, and that's not true. It's up to the individual hotel. So for peace of mind, I say book a refundable hotel and fill up your bathtubs with water, because when you return home, you may not have water. We didn't for about a day. But we had a ton of bottled water, which we had bought in advance. And the other thing that you'll want to do is get a generator. Now, some of the properties here come with generators, or if you're looking at a condo, you're really not going to need to worry about this. I'm talking more for single family homes and for villas. We purchased a generator that cost about $800. And it was enough to, keep a little air conditioning unit going for us at night, charge our phones, put lights on. We have a propane teppanyaki grill, so we cooked on that. We were without power for about 4 days. So we were able to come home. Hurricane happened on a Wednesday night. We were able to come home on Thursday. Thursday, no water. Our power was restored on Sunday morning, and that's pretty typical. So many people will choose to just stay during the hurricanes, and that's fine too, but make sure you're prepared like we just went over. Yay! Now for the pros of living in Sarasota. I have to say it was a lot easier coming up with 10 pros than with 10 cons. So number 10, we have our own international airport here in Sarasota, SRQ, and we are 1 hour away from Tampa, which has an even larger airport. And so if you're traveling somewhere more regionally in general, it is so easy to go to the Sarasota airport. If by chance you've ever been to Long Beach Airport in California, it's a little bit the same. It's just small. You don't need to get there very early. The lines are not long. And you actually can catch a direct flight to Newark. And from there, you really can get anywhere in the world. Literally, we went from Sarasota to Newark to Johannesburg a couple of years ago. But if you can't find flights that work for you out of Sarasota, or you just want to go direct, sometimes, especially with what's been happening with travel recently, I will opt to drive up to Tampa, and that way we can take a direct flight. Pro tip, the parking's about $22 a day in Tampa. So if you're going on a trip longer than 10 days, you can go ahead and catch an Uber. contact me. I will give you Roger's number. He's the best. And it is $100 each way. And so that will, actually save you a little bit of money. Plus it's really convenient, as you know, to just be dropped off at the gate. Pro number 9, an active lifestyle. Sarasota is an outdoor enthusiast's dream. I have to say, with the caveat that we don't have big hills like we had in California, and I do miss that. However, we have paddleboarding, kayaking, pickleball, tons of golf, and you'll find plenty to keep you active. The city offers free yoga and Zumba lessons and beginners pickleball lessons at the Bay, which is this gorgeous area downtown, which just celebrated its 2-year anniversary. And it is incredible to be doing yoga and looking up at the gorgeous blue sky and just feel a little bit of a breeze. Now, personally, I love kayaking, and you can rent a kayak on Lido and kayak through the mangroves with a friend, or you can even get your own kayak, and there's different launching places around Sarasota. I also enjoy walking the Ringling Bridge with a friend or my husband, and if you want a longer workout than that, then you can either walk beautiful Bird Key first, which would be on the west side of the bridge, or Golden Gate Point, which is on the east side of the bridge and is a really neat area. Be sure to check out my other videos because I won't be talking about Golden Gate Point in this one, but I am going to cover some of the other neighborhoods. Point is, there are lots and lots of activities to keep you busy and keep you fit. Pro number 8, endless entertainment and cultural events. This was a big draw for me and my family to Sarasota. Sarasota has a professional orchestra, a beautiful opera house. We have the Van Weasel, which headlines talent, and many live theaters. On top of this, Sarasota loves its festivals. You've got the Sarasota Film Festival, which brings in big names and indie films. There's a chalk festival, a professional sand sculpture competition on beautiful Siesta Key. We have food and wine festivals. Ringling hosts a yearly international arts festival. And the best part, most of these are free, making it really easy to experience Sarasota's vibrant culture. Pro number 7, lively, vibrant downtown Sarasota scene. Incredible restaurants, cute boutiques, many art galleries, downtown area, coffee shops, ice cream. Not touristy though. It is touristy if you want that kind of vibe on Siesta Key in the village there, and it's also really cute. But downtown Sarasota is more upscale, and the streets are like cobblestone or brick, and it's just really beautiful, very well done. You can also head over to St. Armand's, which is beautiful in the center there, St. Armand's Circle. There are always different events going on, and tree lighting at Christmas. Pro number 6, Sarasota is a boater's paradise. Prior to moving to Sarasota, we were not a boating family, never had owned a boat. But not long after moving here and just seeing the beautiful Gulf of Mexico and how accessible the waterways are, we did buy a boat. There's also lots of boats that you can rent, or as they say, find a friend with a boat. That's really the best of both worlds. But I can't tell you how fun it is to go out with your friends and your family to a sandbar and spend the afternoon. There's multiple sandbars, and each one kind of has its own vibe, more of a party vibe on one, more of a relaxed, laid-back vibe on another, and you just get to enjoy the beautiful surroundings. Of course, you also can do the kayaking that we talked about earlier, and the water is a huge draw here. Pro number 5, fantastic weather for, let's call it 7.5 months out of the year. While the summers are hot, of course, Sarasota has incredible weather for most of the year. From, I'd say, mid-October through beginning of May, the temperatures are mild and the skies are sunny. The humidity is basically 0, and so that's why everyone flocks here during those months. I will say in the summertime, though it is really hot, we have come to love the storms. There can be thunder and lightning storms at least several times a week, and I told my husband, oh my gosh, I feel like an old person because we would sit with a glass of wine on the lanai and just marvel at God's majesty with this lightning show. So there are some pros in the summertime as well. Pro number 4, excellent schools. Sarasota has such a huge option when it comes to schools, be it from elementary all the way through college. Now, coming from California, I wasn't accustomed to school choice. In California, just like in most of the states, you're either at the public school in the neighborhood where you live, or you're forking over huge bucks to have your child attend a private school. I love that we were able to choose what schools worked best for our children. We sent our son to a charter school. It's a military academy. He thrives best with loving boundaries, and so that was ideal for him. And our daughter, for elementary, we actually had her in the public school in our district, and it was an international baccalaureate school. And I have a friend in California sending her daughter to one, and I think that it's something like $30,000 a year. Well, this is just the public school in Sarasota. The schools are fantastic. We currently, for middle school, have our daughter at a private Christian because she really thrives with the smaller class sizes and she loves Jesus. The really neat thing about Florida is that families can receive $7,700 towards tuition if a parent chooses to send their child to private school. And really, it doesn't cost anything more than that in most cases. And so your options are wide open. We also have a lot of colleges here. We have technical colleges. We have medical campuses. We have the new College of Florida, which is a pretty funny name because it was founded in, I think, 1964. But, we have the Ringling College of Art and Design. Fantastic artists come out of there. And so truly, you're going to be able to find for your family what is the best option for them. Pro number 3, many neighborhood options, from laid back to upscale, family focused to urban living. I'm going to go over a limited list. There are many more options. And please be sure to check out my videos because I go over each of these neighborhoods in detail as well as others. First up, we have Lakewood Ranch, which is one of the fastest growing communities in the country. And if you're looking for a master plan community feel with tons of amenities, this might be the place for you. It's perfect for families. It has top-rated schools, parks. It even has its own main street full of shops and restaurants. Waterside there. You can rent boats and take them over to some of the restaurants. And there are a lot of gated communities offering really high-end amenities and golf courses too. There are farmers markets as well, and they even offer outdoor yoga. It seems like its own little town and is anywhere from probably 30 to 50 minutes from the beach. Next up is Palmer Ranch. This is in South Sarasota. Beautifully landscaped neighborhoods, a little bit more affordable in general. Lots of outdoor activities like the Legacy Trail, which is huge. You can ride your bike from this area all the way to Venice, which would be south, or to downtown Sarasota north. It's a perfect balance of tranquility and convenience, and it's a warm community too. Also, here there are some beautiful golf courses, so if that's your thing, you're going to be able to find lots of options. Now I'd like to head over to Siesta Key, which is also South Sarasota. If you've ever dreamed of living just steps away from one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, it's been named one of the most beautiful beaches in the United States for lots of years. Powdery white sand. There's a really cute village there, has restaurants and boutiques and shops, and options from condos to single family homes. Lido Key offers a different kind of beach vibe. It's, I'd say, quieter and more upscale. This is where St. Armand Circle is. So you could walk the beach in the morning. You then could walk over and grab a coffee, and there are high-end restaurants for lunch and dinner. There's also some really good shopping there. And I'd say it's the perfect blend of nature and luxury. If you're looking for exclusivity and a quiet waterfront living, then Longboat Key might be the best bet for you. That's more, well, west, northwest, if you will, and the homes are stunning. There are a ton of condos. If you've ever been to Kaanapali Beach on Maui, kind of reminds me of that because it's just really beautifully landscaped and there's lots of golf courses. For those of you who prefer a more urban lifestyle with access to, walking the restaurants and just cultural events and that kind of thing, then you're probably going to want to be in downtown Sarasota, where we have everything from luxury mid-rise condos with stunning bay views to the most charming historic homes. One of my favorite things in downtown Sarasota is that you can just walk and go to the farmer's market or go to Whole Foods, and these neighborhoods, these pockets all around downtown Sarasota, each have a different vibe, and you have homes that have been around since the 1920s that have been lovingly restored. It's a really special place to be. I'd also like to talk to you about Hillview. Hillview is an area that is right by Sarasota Memorial. It's kind of a perfect location. It's right in the middle of between Siesta and downtown Sarasota, and it is really quite upscale. The Main Street there has a lot of really beautiful shops and higher end restaurants, and it's just very charming. It's one of the more exclusive areas, and it's also there on the water, so it's going to be pricier for sure, but a great location. And we have Gulf Gate, so that's also South Sarasota, not quite as south in general as Palma Ranch, but it's a great place for first-time home buyers. It's a close-knit community. The homes tend to be more affordable. The neighborhood has a laid-back vibe, and the best part is it's, 10 minutes from Siesta Key. Depending upon where you are in Gulf Gate, it's also walkable to its own little kind of village with locally owned restaurants, and and there's tattoo shops. It's a different vibe than some of these other areas that I've talked to you about. So Southgate is also the Hillview area, and I'd love to show you around there. So that is just a snapshot. There are lots of other areas. I know we can find the perfect one for you and your loved ones. Pro tip number 2, the restaurant scene. Sarasota has many good restaurants and authentic restaurants of all sorts of international cuisines like Cuban, Spanish, Italian, Indian. We also have a restaurant on Longboat that is run by a chef who's received a Michelin star. Ocean Prime, which is a really hip, small chain that's privately owned, is being built waterfront here as I speak and can't wait for that to open. And we have restaurants on the water where you can watch dolphins frolic by, like Dry Dock on Longboat as well. Siesta has its own flavor of restaurants, and when we moved here 4 years ago, this wasn't the case. We were really spoiled where we were prior, but in the last 4 years, Sarasota has grown up. It's come a long way. We have a restaurant in that Hillview area that I mentioned that is owned by a chef from Washington, D.C. and moved here several years back. Fantastic. I have all sorts of great recommendations, and so please be sure to check out my other videos because I do reviews of some of my favorites. Pro number 1, the beaches, of course. The thing that is really neat about the beaches surrounding Sarasota is that each one has its own flavor, and depending upon where you end up buying, you're not that far from any of them. So south of us is Venice, and one of the beaches in Venice is known for being able to find ancient shark teeth. Now that is a really fun way to pass time if you have kiddos. Even if you don't, it's very cool to be able to find one of those teeth. Now, if we come up north a little bit, where we would be in South Sarasota, we've talked about Siesta Key and a lot of the benefits. Siesta Key has been named multiple times as the #1 beach in the United States. It is gorgeous, it is huge, the parking is free, and the sand is white and soft. The water is the Caribbean type water where it's just really beautiful greens and blues, and it's warm, and so you can really go in any time of year and be comfortable. Coming from California, the beaches are beautiful, but the water was cold, and a lot of people didn't get in unless they were wearing wetsuits. The other beaches that we have, gosh, there are so many. One of my favorites is Lido, because it's quieter. I love the dunes there, and the shells that you can find at low tide rival the shells that we used to buy as a kid when we would visit the Capitola area on the coast of kind of Northern California. So you find incredible shells, and it's gorgeous. There's some very luxurious building going on Lido, including the Rosewood, which I would love to give you information about if you're interested. You can go up to Longboat Key, and those beaches are different, and then Anna Maria. So lots and lots of choices. And when we first moved here, I know we made it a point to sort of beach hop just to see the difference in all of them. And I'd recommend that for you too. So there you have it. My countdown of the top pros and cons to living here in Sarasota. I hope that you found this video helpful, and if you're considering making a move to Sarasota or you're just curious about lifestyle here, please reach out to me. My contact information is below. I hear from people like you all the time, and I would love to help you make a smooth move to Sarasota. Thanks for watching.